We've all heard the saying, no man is an island. Society conditions us to believe that to move forward, we need a hand to pull us up, a shoulder to cry on, or a community to push us. It sounds comforting, doesn't it? But what if that very belief is actually what keeps us stuck?
It is comforting, certainly. It's a beautiful lie. The reality is that if your ability to stand depends on something external, a person, a group, a compliment, then your stability is an illusion. The moment that support is withdrawn, you collapse. The core philosophy we are looking at today challenges that dependency. It suggests that true strength isn't found in connection, but in the absolute capability to stand alone.
That feels incredibly counterintuitive, especially in a world that celebrates networking and community support. Are we saying that seeking help is a weakness?
Not necessarily a weakness, but a vulnerability. Think about it. There are certain battles in life, the dark nights of the soul, if you will, when no amount of advice, hugs, or promises can save you. There are decisions only you can make and pain only you can process. If you spend your life waiting to be rescued, waiting for someone to acknowledge your struggle, you aren't moving. You're just waiting.
So, it's about killing the expectation of a savior.
Exactly. It's the realization that no one is coming. And that sounds terrifying at first. It sounds cold. But once you truly accept that no one is coming to fix your life, it becomes incredibly liberating. It forces you to take the wheel. You stop looking for a co-pilot and you start driving.
It reminds me of that feeling when you're going through a breakup or a career failure and you keep checking your phone, hoping for that one message that makes it all better. But the message never comes.
And it shouldn't, because if it did, you would learn nothing. The source material we're discussing mentions a great awakening that doesn't come with flowers or applause. It comes with pain. It comes when you realize you are alone in a hole and you have two choices: stay there and rot while waiting for a rope, or claw your way out with your own fingernails. When you climb out yourself, you build a type of confidence that no one can give you. You realize you are self-sustaining.
That leads to a very specific type of discipline. It's easy to work hard when your boss is watching or when you have a workout partner screaming at you. But what happens when the room is empty?
That is the true test of character. Integrity is what you do in the dark. Most people outsource their discipline. They need a deadline, a teacher, a fear of punishment. But when you become your own authority, everything changes. You stop negotiating with yourself. You get up early, not because you have to, but because you promised yourself you would.
It's a contract with yourself.
A non-negotiable contract. And breaking a promise to yourself is far more damaging than lying to someone else. It erodes your self-respect. When you hold yourself to a standard, even when no one is clapping, especially when no one is clapping, you forge a mental armor. You realize that you don't need an audience to perform.
Speaking of audiences, let's talk about validation. We live in the era of the like button. We post our wins, our losses, our meals. It feels like we are constantly begging for emotional scraps. Tell me I did good. Tell me I'm worthy.
It's an addiction. And it's dangerous because it hands the keys to your emotional state over to strangers. If you need applause to keep moving, you will stop the moment the room goes quiet. The philosophy here is about becoming your own source of validation. You have to reach a point where your own assessment of your actions is the only one that matters. Did I do my best? Was I coherent with my values? If the answer is yes, the world's opinion is irrelevant.
That sounds incredibly difficult to practice. It implies a level of detachment that might be perceived as arrogance or coldness by others.
It's often mistaken for arrogance, but it's actually peace. It's the difference between needing to be seen and knowing who you are. When you stop begging for support, emotional or otherwise, you stop operating from a place of lack. You become a creator of energy rather than a consumer of it. People are actually drawn to that. Paradoxically, the less you need people, the more they want to follow you.
Because you're stable. You aren't a vacuum trying to suck energy out of them.
Precisely. You become a lighthouse, not a distress flare.
I want to touch on the habit of complaining. It's almost a social bonding ritual. We get together and complain about the economy, our partners, the weather. But this perspective views complaining as a poison.
Complaining is the language of the defeated. Every time you complain, you are reinforcing a neural pathway that says, I am a victim. I have no power here. It feels satisfying in the moment, like scratching an itch, but it bleeds your will to act. The shift happens when you replace, why is this happening to me, with, what am I going to do about this?
It's moving from passive to active.
It's moving from spectator to protagonist. The world owes you nothing. It doesn't care if you're tired or if it's unfair. The only thing the world respects is action. If you are in pain, use it. If you are angry, channel it. But never, ever sit there and tell a story about how helpless you are.
There's another element here that I find fascinating, the speed of recovery. We all fail. We all have days where we break our diet or miss a deadline. Usually, we follow that with a week of guilt.
That guilt is just another form of procrastination. It's ego. We sit there whipping ourselves thinking, oh, I'm such a failure, which is really just a way of centering the narrative on our feelings rather than the objective reality. The superpower isn't never falling, it's how fast you get back up.
So skip the self-pity party?
Skip the drama entirely. You fell? Fine. Stand up, dust off, keep walking, don't analyze it for 3 days, don't write a memoir about your failure. Just correct the course immediately. The gap between the mistake and the correction determines your success.
This brings us to the idea of doing things without motivation. We are obsessed with feeling inspired.
Motivation is a fair weather friend. It's great when it's there, but it's rarely there when you need it most at 5 a.m. on a rainy Tuesday. If you only act when you feel like it, you will lose to the person who acts regardless of how they feel. You have to learn to decouple your actions from your emotions. Your feelings are valid, but they shouldn't have a vote on your behavior.
You perform regardless of the internal weather.
You perform because of the commitment. In fact, doing the work when you feel absolutely terrible is what builds the most strength. It proves to your subconscious that you are in charge, not your mood swings.
But this path, it sounds lonely. If you stop complaining, stop seeking validation, and stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it, you're going to end up isolating yourself from a lot of people.
You will. And that is the price of entry. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. When you start setting boundaries and prioritizing your own discipline, people will say you've changed. They'll say you're obsessive or antisocial. You have to get comfortable with that. You don't need to explain your map to people who aren't going anywhere.
That's a powerful image. Not explaining your map.
Why should you? If your soul approves of your path, why do you need a consensus? The need to be understood is just another form of seeking permission. When you let go of that, you travel lighter.
So, bringing this all together, we're talking about a radical form of ownership. It seems the core message is that everything you are looking for out there, the support, the motivation, the validation, is actually a resource you have to mine from within.
That is the ultimate truth. We spend our lives looking for the magic key, the mentor, the break. But the resources are internal. The moment you realize that you are your own support system, that you are the one who must lift the weight, the fear evaporates. Because you can control you. You can't control the world, but you can control your will.
It's empowering, but it's heavy. It means there are no more excuses.
No more excuses, but also no more limits. When you realize you can survive the solitude, that you can thrive in the discomfort, you become dangerous in the best possible way. You become unstoppable because you no longer need the conditions to be perfect. You just need a vision and the will to walk toward it, even if you are walking alone.
Especially if you are walking alone.
Especially then. That is where the real power is born.
A profound reminder that the person we are waiting for is looking back at us in the mirror. For our listeners, the challenge this week is simple but hard. Pick one thing you've been putting off waiting for the right time or the right help and just start. Do it in silence. Do it for you.
And don't tell anyone you're doing it, just let the results speak eventually.
Thank you for this deep dive. It's certainly a wake-up call to stop leaning and start standing.
Always a pleasure. Keep moving forward.